Joining me now is one half of the Bellator 272 co-main event next weekend. It's Jeremy Kennedy. Jeremy, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Right on.
Like I said, you're fighting in the co-main event. You're facing Emmanuel Sanchez. First of all, just give me your thoughts on the fight. From my perspective, it just seems like a good overall mixed martial arts fight between two well-rounded fighters.
Absolutely. I think you kind of hit it right there. Both guys that are good everywhere. Both like to grapple different styles. Both like to strike different styles, and we're going to clash and see what one's better.
Now, I know your teammate Mads Burnell faced him in his last fight. Have you gotten any insight from him on any sort of the ins and outs of what he saw from that fight on Sanchez?
Yeah, I haven't really talked to him too much about it. I was there. I watched it live, and I know Mads' game. I've trained with him lots, and I know how where he got success and whatnot. And just seeing the fight, I've kind of put together myself what my strengths are leading into this and how to approach this fight. I've sat down with my coaches and we've watched that rewatched the fight, and I think we've put together something good here that I'm excited for, man.
Sounds good. And this will be your first time without a regular member of your corner in Kyle Reyes. How has that process been going through training for an MMA fight without him for the first time? And just give me sort of your thoughts on that.
That's kind of been a tough one. It hasn't really kind of put that on the back burner in the sense of I know what he'd want, and he'd want me to get out there and get after it, and make him proud. That's kind of where I've looked at this, is just he's with me still. He still will be there, and I got my team out here, and that was a hard one for everyone at Extreme. But he's definitely, it's funny. I've got a few of his clothes and his training gear, and anytime I'm struggling on a workout or anything like that, I throw on his stuff, and then actually I'm good on that, man.
Yeah. So I know you're training with a lot of people your size. I know Kamal's going to be fighting on this card as well. Give me your thoughts on him making his Bellator debut, and just what your thoughts on him, his fight coming up as well.
Man, I'm really excited for Kai. He's a guy that I've been training with like day in, day out with, even before he got the Bellator, actually before his UFC release. He was me and him were working a lot together, and the whole thing happened with his last few fights, controversial decisions, controversial points deducted, and draws and whatnot. And man, it all came to fruition. It's pretty crazy that we're on the same card. He got signed to the same promotion, and I was stoked for him. And then I was actually training for De Jesus because that was the name that first came across for me. And so he was helping me with that, and standing southpaw for me, and we were game planning. And then Emmanuel Sanchez came along, and we took that fight. That's an awesome fight for us. And then I guess Diggs was supposed to be fighting De Jesus, and when Diggs fell out, Kai got the call, and so he called me right away. He's like, man, out of nowhere, like, what are the odds? Like, he's on the same card as I am. We were already thinking about this opponent, and now he's got it. And I think it's a great fight for him. I think it's going to be a good, coming out party to the Bellator staff for Kai. I know he's fought in Bellator before, but now it's a little bit different with the rankings and the stage we're on, and the promotion's grown a lot since then. So I think he's going to, I'm very excited for him, man. And it's for both of us to be training for the same date. It's ideal. Now when we're out there, we're going to have a whole crew, and we got all our coaches and corners and everything like that. So I'm excited.
Does it put in any extra pressure on you to, if you see him score like a highlight reel knockout, does that put any extra pressure on you to perform and put on as good of a performance?
No, I think that'll just fire me up, man. I'm excited. I think he's a little lower on the card, so And I'm pretty sure the way Bellator has it, I'll still be up in my hotel room at the time. And so watching it will just be exciting for me, and I know his capabilities. And, if slips on a banana peel and something goes wrong, I'm going to want to go out there and avenge for him. And then if he goes and gets a highlight reel, I'm going to want to go follow that up for the team. And I'm just generally excited for both of us. We both get to go. We've trained so hard together for so long that it's going to be nice that we both get to kind of have our nights on the same night.
Yeah, fair enough. Now you are in Bellator now, but previously you fought for the PFL and with the UFC.
Yeah.
Can you give me your analysis on the differences between the three promotions that are generally considered at least to be the biggest three in America, if not in the world?
Yeah, man, I'm well traveled. I've finally found my home here. I love Bellator, but yeah, it's hard. UFC feels like it was so far away, so long ago. I was pretty young when I fought there. I was early on into my career, and usually it's the other way around. Guys are coming up through the ranks and then end up in the UFC. And I was there early. I had a lot of success there, but I think that shaped me into where I'm at now. And Bellator is my home, and PFL was a good experience. I wouldn't say that was more of a homegrown place that you would want to stay long term, just because it is year to year. They're always rotating out there. It's a small roster, and they're constantly rotating it out to get new blood in for these tournaments. I think they have their few handful of guys that have been around for the last few years, but that was cool. I got to get in there when there was 2 fights in one night, and they've changed that up. The seasonal thing was kind of cool as well. Knowing when you're going to fight a year, from the beginning of the year, if you win, you're going to fight here, 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 and here. But never knowing who you're going to fight is pretty cool, and different. It's just a different aspect of it all. Here in Bellator, I like there's the rankings, and you got to earn your way, and you keep chopping up this, and it could take, however long. It's not just condensed into 5, 6, 7 months. And I think featherweight, regardless, across the board, is one of the deepest divisions. So everywhere I've gone, it's been deep. From the UFC to PFL to now Bellator. Bellator's got one of the strongest featherweight divisions. And I'm a nerd of the game, so I'm always studying everybody. So I remember when I was in PFL, they were starting the GP for Bellator, and I was watching that like a fan, and happened to be Emmanuel Sanchez and all these guys that now Borix and all these guys that I have fought or I'm gonna fight. I've been watching them for a while, and yeah, so it's overall and still never lost touch to the UFC. I'm training with a lot of the UFC featherweights now with Barossa and Ige, and seeing how well they do. And it's just Gavin Tucker was out here for a while, and there's lots of 45ers that I'm not necessarily conflicted with because we're in different leagues, and I can just train hard and get good work in with them.
Yeah, that's
I'm not sure if I really answered your question.
No, you did. You did.
Yeah.
They're all vastly different in their own ways, and
Yeah.
both good. And I'm sure there were some bad aspects as well.
Yeah. I don't like to necessarily bring up the bad stuff, but in all organizations, there's always drama and problems and politics and whatnot. And I got the crap end of the stick a few times, with prior management and just different things, miscommunications and whatnot. And that's just the sport. A lot of guys have been on the same journey I have. I'm just glad to finally have my home here, and really want to. It starts huge with Sanchez, and getting a big win here on the co-main event. It really establishes me in this division.
Yeah, we're excited to see you. You've in between your last fight and this fight, you've competed in a couple of grappling competitions, and including Submission Underground and a couple other competitions. Is that just something to keep you active, or are you looking to make a name in the grappling scene as well, or what?
A little bit of both. Like right now, obviously, 100% the focus is MMA. That's what pays the bills. That's my career. I'm a competitive, active guy, and when I was on, I hadn't had a fight in a while, and so I was just looking to compete in jiu-jitsu. Now that you're getting paid with it too, to not get punched in the face and still go compete, it's ideal. You know, you can do that every other weekend. So even after this fight, I'm going to be looking for grappling matches to keep me busy and compete against guys that only do jiu-jitsu. You know, so if I go in there, and even leading up to it, I didn't want to stray away from my training. So I mean, before I flew out to Submission Underground, I was sparring that week and MMA grappling and, you know, hitting pads and doing kickboxing and whatever. And if I can go and compete with these guys in their world, their rule sets, and have success, you know, I want, it just makes me better. And the competitive edge, and, you know, I go and check in a hotel and I'm hanging out, and you have your fight day nerves and whatnot. And it's a lot of benefits for just going to do some jiu-jitsu, you know. So I would recommend for any fighter to try it, you know, and it just makes you better. Like things I've learned in those little mini jiu-jitsu training camps, you know, where I focus on specific rule sets. It's gotten me better in those positions as well. And so I'm not only going and having fun and competing and staying active, but I'm also building my, you know, my ground game even stronger.
Yeah.
If you didn't take too much damage, I would be doing some boxing fights and kickboxing and whatever. I would try to do it all. But jiu-jitsu, it's, you know, I can go back and start the week Monday again back into my regular training, where, you know, kickboxing and boxing, I'm like, I'm good on all that for the low money fighters. Yeah.
Changing gears a little bit, for people that know you, obviously, they know your nickname's JBC, Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, and they know the backstory behind that. But for those that don't know, can you just sort of explain the backstory behind Junior Bacon Cheeseburger as your nickname?
Yeah, so that actually started right when I first got into MMA. I was a young kid, right? I had my first fight at 16, and I was back with my MMA team back in Canada, and I super new on the diet, nutrition. I started in jiu-jitsu, and I was just showing up to jiu-jitsu and a little bit of kickboxing classes. And that's when I was fighting amateur MMA. And then right when I turned pro, I had 9 amateur fights, and they're like, okay, Jeremy, you got to really like button it in here. You got to get your supplements up, your nutrition and strength and conditioning. I wasn't doing any of this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm just a young kid. I was like, yeah, for sure. Okay, I've got it. Okay, I'll go do my homework and research it all, whatever. So I started running and doing a little bit of road work. And then they came back and they asked me, like, I got my first pro fight, and they're like, all right, so like, how are we structuring this? What's going on? Like, what? And I was like, well, I switched up. They're like, how's your diet? And I was like, oh, well, I switched up. I'm eating Junior Bacon Cheeseburgers now, Wendy's instead of McDonald's. And dead serious, because I figured, you know, it's nice and like crunchy lettuce, and it's like a little bit more like natural in my mind. And ever since I chose Wendy's, everyone started calling me JBC, as like the junior of the team. I was the young kid, and like JBC, it just stuck, you know, and it was just kind of flows with my initials anyways, you know, Jeremy Kennedy and JBC. It was a little nickname, that a little niche, and it just stuck. And now I can't get rid of it. I switched off in PFL a little bit, and then I was like, no, I got to go back to my roots, you know. And I don't really eat that kind of food anymore anyways, but it's just, yeah, it's stuck to me now. Everyone, especially in Canada and BC, they just won't let me live down the JBC. It's honorary.
Wendy's, if you're listening, give this guy a sponsorship.
Right, come on.
So along those lines, I feel like you're a good person to ask this. What is your favorite burger that you've ever had? Anywhere?
Very good. This, you know, Las Vegas has some very underrated food, you know, and there's 2 that are there's 3, man. I can't choose. I'll have to go with, there's a burger joint out here. It's like a Korean style. It's called Fuku Burger. And they have one, it's called a Tamago Burger. And now that's pretty much my cheat meal, you know, weekly. Saturdays, I go out and get that one. And so if you're in the Vegas area, every time I've ate it, the first time I ate it, I was like, I think this is the best burger I've ever had. So that's kind of why I have to give that as my answer, is because I've stated that it's the best burger I've ever had. And it's the Tamago Burger from Fuku Burger.
All right, I'll have to check it out if I ever find my way in
Yeah.
Vegas.
I'm a burger guy too, so there's a few. There's PB&J burger at out here, and then there's also a Wake and Bacon, which is like a breakfast burger at a place called Skinny Fats out here. So there's three top choices that, if you're ever in Vegas, hit me up and I'll definitely make sure you get a good burger experience.
When you think of peanut butter and jelly on a burger, like it doesn't make sense, but
Habanero
I've
jam.
had it before
Yeah.
from a place here in my hometown, and it
Okay.
just all blends in together real well. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, but it does.
Yeah, the place, it's like almost like like a, I don't know, the peanut butter they use, and then the jam is like a habanero jam, so it's a little bit more savory. And with the beef, it's just, we can't talk about it anymore. I'm cutting weight.
Fair enough. So before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to shout out any sponsors or plug your social media, all of those things. How can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so all my content's pretty much on Instagram, Jeremy Kennedy 145. Sponsors, I have Oxygen Yoga Renfrew and New Edge Alliance. 103 Yoga Pilates out here in Vegas. Foodie Fit has been fueling my training camps, man. They're unreal food. The meal prep company out here in Las Vegas. And Mahana Massage has done all my recovery for this camp. And yeah, that's pretty much the go-tos.
All right, that's been Jeremy Kennedy. He's fighting next weekend, Bellator 272 in the co-main event against Emmanuel Sanchez. Jeremy, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Good luck in your fight next weekend.
My man, thank you.